What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, some exciting news surrounding Dead by Daylight and its most recent developer update. Looks like we have some interesting changes coming to Bubba, as in Leatherface, and the Hillbilly, our two chainsaw characters. Not only does their power change, but their add-ons are changed and some of their perks are changed. It's definitely interesting, and I think there is some huge potential to really drastically change gameplay with these two characters. So let's start first with the Leatherface changes. First of all, now when it comes to activating the chainsaw itself, it works more similar to how Hillbilly is, rather than having to fill your entire meter up and release it. This will now prevent you from releasing too early and canceling your entire chainsaw animation, but if you do decide to use like the Hillbilly and slowly rev it, don't do it too long, because this can cause you to go into a complete tantrum as Leatherface. Bubba's chainsaw now has 3 charges by default. When starting your chainsaw sweep, one of these charges will be consumed. Pressing the power button again while the sweep is active will refresh it and consume another charge, allowing you to continue using your chainsaw for another 2 seconds. You'll want to assess the situation carefully though. Each charge you use will also extend the tantrum and missed attack cooldown, so using more charges can backfire if you're not able to follow through. Charges refill automatically at a rate of 1 every few seconds. As you can see in the bottom left of this video, as Leatherface is using his ability and activating more charges, he is losing charges as he goes. I think these changes should allow you as Leatherface players to be more competitive in the higher ranks. I personally loved playing as Leatherface until I got to like rank 14, and then things got pretty difficult to be successful. But now these new changes, it should allow you to be competitive again in the higher ranks. And on top of all the changes I already listed, Leatherface's speed while using his power, the chainsaw, has been increased as well. Instead of going at 5.06 meters per second, you'll be able to go 5.29 meters per second while using the chainsaw. So you can use the chainsaw longer, you can go faster with it. It should allow you to be pretty successful. They've also changed Leatherface's add-on so that'll actually match the new killers that we've gotten recently. So now Leatherface will have 4 common, 5 uncommon, 5 rare, 4 very rare, and 2 ultra rare. While the developers didn't share all of the new add-ons for Leatherface, they did spotlight a few here, which let's go over those now. Shop Lubricant, a rare add-on. Downing a survivor with a chainsaw while no other survivors are in your terror radius will hide the survivor's aura for 20 seconds. Depth Gouge Rake, a very rare add-on. Tool that increases the angle of the depth gauge, making the chain eat more wood. Increases the number of charges, slightly increases charge time, slightly decreases the chainsaw sweep's maximum speed. And Iridescent Flesh, an ultra rare add-on. Hitting a survivor with the chainsaw replenishes its charges. So there's a taste of some of the add-ons we can expect when it comes to Bubba, but I think the perk changes we got are also extremely interesting and can definitely change a lot. Franklin's Demise. Your vicious attacks make the survivors drop their item on impact. The lost item will be consumed by the entity after 120, 100, 90 seconds if it's not picked up before the timer runs out. Reveal the aura of items on the ground within 32 meters in a white aura. The aura of items fade to red until they are consumed by the entity. So now, rather than Franklin's Demise just taking some charges away from those items can actually completely disappear if they aren't picked up by the survivors. And you can see where they're at if you're close enough to that item, and if it gets picked up, you'll know that it does, and you're right back on that survivor. Franklin's Demise can definitely be a lot more powerful now. And Knockout. Survivors put into the dying state by your basic attacks are not revealed to other survivors when they're standing outside of a 32, 24, 16 meter range. Survivors put into the dying state by your basic attack crawls 50% slower for 15 seconds. During this time, survivors are affected by the blindness status effect. So now, on top of not being seen by your teammates, you also will be crawling 50% slower, and not knowing where to crawl could definitely make it harder for you to be picked back up, and should allow you as Leatherface to continue your acts for a little bit longer and not worry about picking up that survivor right away. All around, when it comes to Leatherface, these are changes I'm extremely excited about. I really do like Leatherface, and I feel like although he has barbecue and chili, I hear you, always felt like he was a bit of a weaker killer, and I loved playing as him. I love his play style, but it's just not effective when you get to those higher ranks. Maybe now that won't be the case, and we can see a lot more Bubba players out there. Hopefully that doesn't mean a lot more hook camping. We don't need that. You don't need to do that. Let's just avoid that. But having some more competitive Leatherface players out there would definitely be pretty exciting. But with all that out of the way, let's move on to the Hillbilly side of things. In 4.1.0, the Hillbilly's chainsaw will now feature a new overheat mechanic. Revving the chainsaw will now cause it to accumulate heat, which can be seen both in the lower left corner around the power icon and on the chainsaw itself. Sprinting with the chainsaw will also cause it to heat up at a much lower rate. This heat will dissipate over time whenever the chainsaw is not being used. If the overheat meter fills up completely, it can no longer be used until it has completely cooled down. When this happens, it will cool down at an increased rate. If the chainsaw overheats as you are sprinting, your sprint will not be interrupted. The goal of this change to Hillbilly is to add a more skill-based situation when it comes to playing as Hillbilly, and now having a bit of a drawback if you misuse the chainsaw definitely adds to that skill factor. And the Hillbilly also got some add-on changes, including Dad's Boots, a common add-on, moderately increases chainsaw sprinting steering. Pig House Gloves, a very rare add-on, moderately decreases the heat gained when starting to rev the chainsaw. And Low Pro Gains, an ultra-rare add-on, continue a chainsaw sprint after breaking a pallet. Survivors hit with the chainsaw are damaged for a single health state. I'm definitely really intrigued by that last add-on, and I'm curious to how often you can use that. Whether or not it's just a one pallet thing, or every pallet you break, you can just kind of sprint right through it. It kind of makes pallets irrelevant when going against Hillbilly if they have that add-on. And of course, it does only count as a single hit, and it's not an instant down, but still, that can definitely be a powerful add-on when it comes to Hillbilly. As for perk changes, Lightborn, unlike other Beast of the Fog, you have adapted to light. You are immune to blindness caused by flashlights and firecrackers. Survivors that attempting blinding you have their aura revealed for 6, 8, 10 seconds. So now Lightborn is not just a percentage of immunity, but you are just completely immune to flashlights and firecrackers. Definitely makes Lightborn way more useful. That is a pretty insane change. And Tinker, when a generator is repaired to 70% repair progress, it triggers a loud noise notification and you are granted the undetectable status effect for 12, 14, 16 seconds. Tinker before was 85% generator status before you got notified. So now 70%, that's a big change. That gives you a lot more time to get over there, and of course you are undetectable at that time. So it should help you keep control of the game, and again, these are changes that will really help Hillbilly as you climb into the higher ranks. And also during this upcoming PTB, they will be testing server-side hit detection, which, long story short, basically allows a server to calculate whether or not a hit in the game is accurate. So that shouldn't be an issue anymore. If you feel like you didn't get hit, the server should also agree with you, and those hits will no longer register. And last but not least, they will also be adding a promo code section right there within the game where you can simply click on the screen and add a redemption code, which could unlock anything from clothing to blood points or even auric cells. But that is it for this developer update. All of these new features will be implemented into the player test build on Tuesday, July 7th. I'm definitely going to be checking out. I'm really intrigued when it comes to the Leatherface build, as I want to see how he will do against higher ranked survivors. We'll just see how that goes. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you feel about these changes? I'm curious to know, especially you higher ranked players and those that are higher ranked killers. Do you think now you might take advantage of Leatherface and Hillbilly a bit more? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more updates like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.